is in the books. The regular season is done. We're already on to the wildcard round of the NFL season. It is remarkable how quickly this NFL season just goes. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm Asif Badi. We're going to talk quickly about Week 18, Tanner McKee's performance, but then we're going to get into the playoff game because that's really what we're here for, okay? And why the Green Bay Packers are the perfect matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles. But quickly, let's talk about Week 18. We beat the Giants 20-13 with Tanner McKee at quarterback. He threw for what honestly is 269 yards in his first start. Pretty damn good. That's like top 5 on our season total in terms of yardage here. Because I think Jalen Hurts only broke 300 once. He had 290 yards against Pittsburgh. He had 278 against the Packers, and then 269 yards for Tanner McKee, who looked sharp, by the way. Operated this offense very cleanly and showed poise. Again, I think everybody in Philadelphia believes, at least the fans believe, that Tanner McKee is a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. Now, I think if you think otherwise, you're probably just somebody who needs to see it to believe it and see more of it to believe it. But I think most fans understand, hey, Tanner McKee, there's something about this kid that just everybody likes. And he plays well. It's not like he's a scrub. He operates the offense well. He's smart. He's heady. Doesn't have the biggest arm by all means. And you saw that with some of the footballs that were hitting the dirt. But that's nothing that I don't think can be fixed. That just reps. And it's possible Philadelphia is going to get calls in the offseason for a guy like Tanner McKee. Now, because we drafted him in the 6th round, if Philadelphia gets an offer for a 3rd or a 4th round pick for Tanner McKee, it's most likely that they'll take it. I'm positive that they'll take that trade. I don't think you should, because I think Tanner McKee can play. And I think, like I said, he's better than Kenny Pickett. And in this postseason run, especially, if Jalen Hurts goes down, God forbid, are you really going to throw Kenny Pickett out there with the broken ribs? Or are you going to put Tanner McKee out there? I don't know. You saw today that Kellen Moore is more comfortable with the quarterback like Tanner McKee. That's just a skill set thing. I don't think that's a shot at Jalen Hurts. I just believe that, Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee fit this offense more, and they operated it well. And it's why you see the passing game just look a little bit more smoother coming into the game, playing, routes, all that stuff. It's on time, on schedule, all that jazz. Jalen Hurts isn't that quarterback. He's a playmaker. He's a guy who could scramble. He's a guy who's off script, doesn't need rhythm to be in the flow of a game. Now, in terms of being able to throw the football efficiently, you want a rhythm for him and you want plays that he likes so he gets into a rhythm throwing the ball. But in terms of just operating a game, managing the game, he doesn't need to be in rhythm to make plays, unlike Tanner McKee and Kenny Pickett. So it leads me to say the Green Bay Packers are the best team for Philadelphia to play, considering that Jalen Hurts is coming off of a 3-week hiatus where he got concussed against Washington, and he's taken 2 weeks off from Dallas and New York, and now is able to host a playoff game against the Packers here. Now, this is a team in Philadelphia that has had slow starts almost every Sunday you could think of. And maybe that's the quarterback play. Maybe that's QB1 not operating the offense cleanly. That could be the play calling coming in. That's just not knowing the flow of each other and how to be in sync. Now, you could look at that as a problem for Philadelphia going forward. However, this particular week, you're playing against a team that also has slow starts. You're playing against a team in the Green Bay Packers with Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, who have a really conservative approach when it comes to play calling games. Now, it's not to say that Matt LaFleur can't call a game. He's one of the better ones in the NFL. He could really, really develop an offense, but it's super conservative. And because it's super conservative, it plays well into what is the strength of Philadelphia, which is our defense and the fact that we run the ball. And if you're going to play a conservative game, Philadelphia is not your matchup that you want to have. It's like playing the Chiefs in a conservative game. You don't want to play the Chiefs in a conservative game because that's the type of ball that they want to play. Philadelphia doesn't necessarily want to be in a shootout all the time. They want to be able to run the ball, rely on the defense, and rely on Jalen Hurts to make one or two plays that'll break your back. And that's what the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to let us do, which is why I'm saying they're the perfect matchup for us. Now listen, when you look at Green Bay's total team rankings here, they're 5th in yards allowed and 5th in total yards on offense. So they're top 5 unit in terms of yardage on both sides of the ball. Really, really talented team. They score 27 points a game and they allow 20 points a game. Again, both top 10 marks in the NFL. Okay? They rush for 147 yards. They allow 100 rushing yards, which again, top 10 in both categories, right? So Green Bay is a really balanced football team. They have a lot of talent and a lot of B plus, B to B plus players all throughout the roster. And then they have a quarterback who on his best day can go nuclear. And that's what makes the Packers scared, which is why a lot of people picked the Packers to go win the Super Bowl because they have that sort of talent, right? And based on what we did last season with them. However, Jordan Love has not played his best football. He has not played his best football the past few weeks. As a team, they haven't. And as on the season, he's had 11 interceptions with 25 touchdowns. Meaning that Jordan Love is going to throw the ball to the other team. He'll chuck it up there every now and then. Okay? And it'll leave you with either the most spectacular rainbow throw that you'll ever see, or one of the stupidest interceptions that you're going to find from a superstar, quote-unquote superstar quarterback. And that's the problem with Green Bay. They have a tendency to play to their youth. They can either be naive and play over their skis, or they play stupid like a young person would. And Green Bay, like I said, when you come into a game in Philadelphia and your game plan is, hey, we're going to run the ball and we're just going to try to be tougher than you, good luck. Not with this football team. Not with the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. Not with the number 2 points per game defense in the NFL. The number 1 passing defense in the NFL. You're not going to out-tough this team at home in a playoff atmosphere. Now, you could say to yourself, hey, Philadelphia's defense has got a lot of young players too. Yes, that's true. And at times they can play stupid ball. And we've seen Quignon slip a little bit. We've seen Cooper slip a little bit in terms of their production. But a week to reflect, a week to prepare in a playoff atmosphere with the home crowd that's going to go wild. When you have an offense that plays such complementary football with Saquon running for 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown, who wants to play in big games and get the ball in big moments. Devonta Smith from Alabama, played in big games and big moments. Like, the thing about Philadelphia is that nothing's going to faze them in a week 1, round 1 matchup against the Packers. Nothing. Jalen Hurts coming off of a 3 weeks rest. Like I said, the guy is not a quarterback that's going to drop back and throw it, 30 times and chuck it all over the yard. Throughout the season, I've said the passing attack's anemic. He hasn't even hit 3,000 yards on the season, and he missed a few games. Only thrown for 18 touchdowns. But you know what he doesn't do? Turn the ball over. He's only had 5 picks on the year. And most of those came in the first 2 weeks most of them came before the bye. Right? Like I think 4 of those interceptions came prior to the bye week. So he's been extremely judicious with the football. Wow, I can't even say that word right. Judicious with the football. Holy shit. On top of that, he had 14 rushing touchdowns and 630 yards of rushing. So he's a playmaker. He can run. He can scramble. Saquon Barkley, like I said, hit the 2,000 mark. Catalyst for the offense. And like I said, when you give them a week's rest and now they are coming in with fresh legs against the Packer team that's kind of reeling right now, And you could tell. If you watched the Packers game against the Bears, you saw when they saw Washington was down against Dallas. They looked at that scoreboard, and because Jordan Love got hurt in that game, they were like, holy shit. Try to get Jordan, like it looked like on the sideline they were trying to get Jordan Love going. Because they don't want to come to Philadelphia. I'm telling you, you draw Philadelphia in your week 1 matchup in the playoffs, that's a tough draw. Especially going to Lincoln, where that crowd's just going to be exceptional. All right. The Green Bay Packers are the best team to play for the Philadelphia Eagles because they're young, they have slow starts, and quite frankly, because this offense for Philadelphia is going to be able to get their rhythm right against this Green Bay Packers defense. Now, I know they got a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball, but like I said before, Philadelphia is a slow-starting offense. They don't get rhythm. They don't have rhythm in the first quarter. And against the Green Bay Packers team that also does not have rhythm, that starts off slow, that plays dumb in the first quarter of games, all you need to do as an offense is get 1 or 2 scores on the drive, whether it's 2 field goals, a field goal touchdown, something. You put up points on the board against the Green Bay Packers, all of a sudden they have to completely shift their mindset on how they want to play. And in the playoffs, that's exactly how you want to beat a team. Get them off their game plan and have them scramble. Philadelphia, this passing game, the offense, it's always scrambling. Unless you're giving the ball to 26. And for the most time, and most of the time, that's good enough. And it's not like, like I said, yeah, Saquon Barkley has 300 carries on the season. He had 2,000 yards, but he's coming off a week's rest. His legs are going to be fresh. Jalen Hurts is going to be fresh. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, going to be fresh. Hosting the Green Bay Packers is the perfect way to shake your playoff nerves off if you're a young player on this Philadelphia Eagles team. Now, Fangio's not going to have them slip. The veteran coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball is not going to have them slip. Kellen Moore has been here before. Sirianni has been here before. It's a veteran-ridden coaching staff, a veteran-ridden locker room, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Darius Slay has been in big games. Gardner Johnson has been in big games. Josh Sweat has been in big games. Brandon Graham is still in the locker room, so he's going to help guide these young boys and put them on the right path in terms of how to prepare week to week. But now it's the Young Bucks' time to shine. This is the moment that everyone in Philadelphia has been waiting for. You win against the Packers, and you're going to get a matchup either against the Bucks or against the Rams. Which again, if the Bucks come to Philadelphia, which once again, it's not the best matchup for Philadelphia, I understand that. But them coming to Lincoln Financial Field is a different ballgame than us going down to Tampa. The Rams coming to us is a different ballgame. You can host the next round if you beat the Green Bay Packers here on Wildcard Weekend. Sunday, 4 o'clock is going to be the time where Philadelphia gets to showcase just how dominant they can be. And the way the Packers have looked these past few weeks, and the way Philadelphia, all the chips seem to be falling in line for this team, I don't think there's any doubt in any fan's mind that Philadelphia is going to come out victorious against the Green Bay Packers. And it could be the start of a really special run in what is a weaker NFC conference. Every team has got a hole. Not every team is great in the NFC. So it's the perfect opportunity for Nick Sirianni, for Jalen Hurts, and the rest of this crew to go get the job done. It starts against the Packers. Hey! Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles Podcast.